Hello everyone, Thomas from Medieval Review here, and I want to talk to you about the Leiomano. That is essentially, it's a Polynesian weapon, but it was very common in places like Hawaii, and so the term Leiomano is actually a Hawaiian term. It means basically a shark's wreath, for a good reason here, because you're basically creating that wreath. It's, think about a lei, a Hawaiian lei. It's a little wreath that goes around your neck, a wreath of flowers. Well, in this case, it's a wreath of very, very sharp shark's teeth. And there's a couple of people who actually make these or remake these. And I'll post some links down in the description below. But it's a really fascinating weapon. And so I talked recently about this weapon, the Macahuetl, and its use within the Mesoamerican area of the world. But this is a very, very unique take on a very similar concept. That is to make not really so much a war club as, well, it's essentially as a short-range dispatching weapon. Now, a lot of Polynesian cultures actually used large clubs and spears. Some of them even had shields of different kinds, but they basically used things that had a good bit of range to them. But a lot of times they in and of themselves wouldn't actually dispatch their enemies. That is to say, someone would have a spear hit them and they'd still be alive to some extent. And so one of the things that the warriors would carry with them is a weapon like this that was used to get up close and kind of get at the neck of the individual. And something like these shark's teeth, it works really well. These are extremely sharp. In fact, I was just kind of checking the tension on, just getting my idea, my bearings with this weapon, checking the tension of these little hemp ropes that hold it all together, and my finger slipped a bit, and I caught myself on one of the teeth. Now, thankfully, I don't think I started bleeding, but it definitely hurt, and that's me being very careful with it. I was trying to be very careful anyway. But it's a fascinating weapon, and I think it's a beautifully built weapon. So essentially the way it works is they drill little holes here, and you can see it, little holes in the teeth, and they weave through like essentially a hemp rope, and they hold it down with really good tension. And so these teeth actually have a little bit of give to them, but not a lot. And I would assume that the concept behind it is that, okay, you're using this weapon and a tooth breaks or falls out or something happens to it. It's not too hard to disassemble and reassemble after the fight, right? But yeah, this is just a real quick kind of slashing weapon. It's not really meant to hit. You're not trying to put a lot of force behind it. This one is designed with kind of an open area in the middle. That's just a design choice. The Leiomano is actually something that you see all sorts of designs for. You can see them as really kind of big, almost more like sword style weapons. You actually have some that are single edged instead of the wreath, the traditional wreath shape or circular shape. This is a somewhat traditional version of it. And while there's a lot of variations, they all basically come down to the same thing, which is using what is the naturally available resource for a lot of Polynesian islands to actually make weapons, and that would be shark's teeth. Now I'm going to make a note here because it's actually really important to me, mostly because I'm very much a nature lover, and I do actually really strongly believe in us as mankind doing very good conservation jobs with our world, our nature. Not always to the extreme that some people go, but I really value wildlife especially. These teeth are essentially, as far as I know, are responsibly sourced. That is to say, they're not going and killing sharks just for their teeth. These are coming from as a byproduct of basically a lot of foreign cultures that do actually still fish for sharks, and the teeth are coming from those as an import into Hawaii to make this. So there's things on the up and up here, and I'm very happy for that. These are real shark's teeth, which is important to me. I like authenticity in my weapons, especially ones as unique as this. I want to only really ever have to buy it once. I'm racking my brain on exactly how to try to test this thing out and use it some. I don't know. Maybe I'll find some like a ham hock or something. I don't know, just to see what it can do. But yeah, it's a tearing weapon. But I think it's a fascinating look at how weapons are made across all cultures, right? We get so used to, or I get so used to talking about swords on the wall, things made of steel, things made of iron, the very typical spear or axe or that kind of thing, but you get these really interesting weapons when you go to other regions of the world or to other time periods. And I talk about this type of stuff a lot when I talk about more ancient weapons, either this or the Macahuetl. I'll talk about them a lot because I feel like I'm specifically speaking to the ingenuity that mankind has always had, especially in making weapons. Very happy to add this to my collection. I've been wanting to get one of these for a very long time, and I think it's a really, really cool item. So, hopefully this is interesting. If you'd like to know more about Leiomanos, they're actually really, really kind of hard to fish up answers for, or information. Fish, ha, you get it? But they're really, really hard to get information on a lot of times. But you can begin to find some good resources. And as I said, I'll post a couple places down below where you can actually pick something like this up. They're not cheap, because you are basically paying someone who specializes in crafting these things, and it's not many people, so the market's kind of cornered there, so they don't really come very cheap. But I think it's totally worth it to get something this unique. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative, and see you in the next video.